Show me your smile. Don't be unhappy, can't remember when I last did a let's play of Bloodborne for my sister, whose name is Katie. Excuse me, sir, I was singing. Yeah. I know. True Blade of the Church, yeah, fine. Anyway, just backtracking here to the underground cells past where Ludwig was, so we can... Now that we have the key, we can... Oh my god, dude! Shut up! I'm trying to talk. It's already loud enough with that fucking bell going off. Anyway, now that I picked up the key off-screen to all these cells from a trapped room in the research hall, we can open all these doors and loot anything not bolted to the floor. And this fella in here has a very minor role in the story of the League. Yamamura the Wanderer, he was. Pursued a beast for honorable revenge. Joined the League, stared right into impurity, drove him mad. Pfft, how original. I was just checking because when I played this, I only glanced really quickly at what dropped. I wasn't sure if he dropped a weapon or what, but it was not. It was just his clothes. And hey, this is new. So last episode we ran into Simon, who breathed his last because he had been felled by the beast-hide hunter, who came with the sound of the bell. Well, here he is here, too. So, you don't have to come back here. If you're playing through this DLC, you can just head straight on through the last half of the fishing hamlet, but this guy, the beast-hide hunter, will invade you, like, I think 3 or 4 times in the second half of the fishing village. He's sort of one of the final obstacles to the end of the nightmare. One of the protectors of the secrets. And since he showed up here and we can hear the bell here too, it must mean he's in one of these cells. But of course, if you remember, we came down here and we talked to somebody in this cell who asked us if we'd heard the peal of the bell before. And with the key that we got from Simon, we can finally get in here.
Who's here? Welcome to my quarters. I've never entertained a guest before. Are you going to kill me? After all you've done, kill me? As if to right your wrongs. What is it? Aren't you going to kill me? Or perhaps beg my forgiveness? Well, leave off. What's done is done. Nothing changes. Such is the nature of man.
I was like, is he dead? Yes, he is dead. And you get his weapon for killing him. Every time he invades you and you kill him successfully, he drops a piece of his clothing. But if you just go kill him here, then you can still pick up those pieces of his armor set in the spots where he would have invaded you in the level, which we're gonna do. All my homies hate Brador. People are willing to do unspeakable things to protect their dark secrets. So, I guess we have to be willing to do the same to expose them. And, might as well change my clothes now. Max out my frenzy resistance because, oh, just one last time we're gonna run into, some real scary shit before the end of the game. Alright, now that I'm all decked out in my anti-insanity outfit, I realized that I forgot to more thoroughly explore this place. Because there are still some cells in here that you can open up, get some goodies. Oh, okay. Gotta be wary of tricks and traps and scumble-the-bumbles. There he is. That's what every time, every door I've been opening in this place, I've been expecting this guy to be in the corner, and it is indeed in this one. And it's really tough to fight this guy in this one little room. You really gotta draw him out into the hallway where you have more space to maneuver. And, maneuver the camera, too. This guy fights with the church pick. I forget if you get it from killing him or if you get it somewhere else. At the moment, I can't quite remember, but, it's a really interesting weapon. It's like a long lance, but then it, yeah, you do get it from him. In its untricked form, it is just a thrusting lance, but then it, turns into a giant, like, pickaxe almost when it's transformed. It's a little, hook in it. Another very cool weapon. That's what I think Bloodborne does so much cool. The weapon design in Bloodborne is so much cooler than in Dark Souls or Demon Souls or even Elden Ring, which has a lot of really neat weapons. Like, you know, since those games are all about the, you know, medieval fantasy, a lot of it's just, yeah, polearms and swords and spears and shields and all that. And it's like sometimes they'll be, you know, infused with some kind of magical property or have some kind of story significance, but, you know, it's a lot of, you know, it's fantasy shit. It's, you know, swords and sorcery. You know, in this game, it's such a different vibe of, like, jury-rigged together, you know, tools and odd combinations of weapons you would never even think to use together. Like, just the saw spear and the cleaver is such an original idea for a weapon that you really don't see in too many games. It's that kind of fusion of aesthetics that, I would not call this game steampunk, but I think that's why people like steampunk, is it's like fusing disparate elements of familiar things. Also wanted to show off here, now that we're not being chased by a shark through here, that you got this little grave up here. And, a large, unidentified object on the beach down there. This grave on the hillside overlooking it. I think you know by now. That's a great one down there. The corpse of a great one, in fact. The corpse of Mother Koss. We've heard a little bit about her. Mikolash mentioned her as having granted eyes to Rom the vacuous spider. And we heard the friendly fish wizard from the beginning of this level pray for atonement for the wretches by the wrath of Mother Cause. That corpse is our ultimate goal, as it was the curse of Mother Cause that spawned the Hunter's nightmare. The sins the Hunters committed here angered her on such a deep level that she cursed them and their descendants for eternity. And now we're here to sort everything out. So when I mentioned last video about the whole Shadow over Innsmouth thing, that the fishmen of the village were transformed by, you know, parasites that came from the ocean. They came from Cause. Now whether she was still alive on the material plane when the parasites went out, or whether this all happened after she washed up on the beach, it's unclear. I think it could go either way. Because either way, parasites from her body, little slugs, found their way out onto land and infected the denizens of the fishing village, transforming them into these fish-like creatures. Which is, of course, what got the attention of the Bergenworth scholars, which led to the travesty that they committed in the village. We've seen what they did to the people. But what matters is what they did to the Great One that the people worshipped. So that's really our ultimate goal here, is to right the wrongs done to the Mother of the Ocean. I also like how this DLC really expands the whole water motif that was very subtle in the actual game, only mentioned in a couple item descriptions, and, you know, present in the whole Rom the vacuous spider living in the Moonside Lake. The whole idea of water being a bulwark guarding sleep and concealing the eldritch truth. It really comes through here with the whole focus on water and the patients in the research hall imbibing strange fluids into their heads to hear the sound of water. And, hey, you remember early on in the Hunter's Nightmare when that snail woman fell out of the sky? Well, here's where she came from. That is one of my favorite weird little moments here, and just coming in here and seeing all these snail women for the first time and being like, oh my god, that's what that was. Because after all, this section of the nightmare is higher up than the one we started in. We climbed the Astral Clock Tower to get here. So it makes sense that if one of these fell through the water, then it would wind up in a lower section of the nightmare and just fall out of the sky. That's really cool, dreamlike world design and world building. I just think that's terrific. I also think it's just, again, very, very fun enemy design. And these guys too, fighting them, or these gals, I should say, fighting them is a little tactical, because if you hit the shell, or if you hit them before they've come out of the shell, then their defense is way higher. But their actual bodies are quite squishy. So they don't have much defense when they're out of the shell. But when they're still in it, takes they get bulked up a little more. As for Koss being dead, and that being her corpse on the beach, I think it's, you know, much like how, you know, some, you know, Rom, even after you kill her, can be found in one of the Chalice dungeons. It's like, you know, the Great Ones are on, you know, higher planes of being, and are multi-dimensional in a way that humans have difficulty conceiving of. So, even though we've killed several Great Ones, it's possible and all but confirmed by this DLC that their consciousness lives on in other strata of existence beyond what we can perceive of. And there's a chance that those touched by the Great Ones, those in communion with them, can also sometimes have this sort of eternal consciousness, the curse, one might say, of eternal consciousness placed upon them. If you defeat Queen Yharnam in the final story chalice dungeon, you're rewarded with a key item that doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of bragging rights, but it's called the Yharnam Stone, and it's a blood red jewel with a sort of image inside of a screaming, you know, skull. And the description states that you know, Queen Yharnam lies dead, but her horrific consciousness lives on in this stone and stirs in unsettling motions. So, Yharnam, as we know, was impregnated by a Great One with the newborn Murgo, and, of course, the School of Mensis then took it from her and started all this awful shit that has happened to us tonight. It's possible that her birthing Murgo or her communion with Odin caused her to become, as the Great Ones are, multi-dimensional, multi-planar. Whether she's down with that, I don't know. You'd have to ask her, and she does not say much. So, we may never know. Anyway. Now, down this path is the end of the DLC. So, we're not gonna go there just yet. We gotta explore further. Because there's another path here, and you can hear the singing of the winter lanterns. That's why I'm decked out like this in all my frenzy-resistant gear. That path goes to an optional area that is super hard and scary and full of a lot of bad guys, but that's where the final upgrade material is. I made a +10 the Rockio, so I am gonna attempt that. Yeah, you get one, they give you one blood rock in the main game and one blood rock in the DLC, and you really gotta work for both of them. So, let's get to work. Yeah, you got these shellless slug ladies crawling around. You got at least one winter lantern, possibly more. God, those things are freaky. Don't worry, we're done with the scary Raiders of the Lost Ark music. Because I was not taking any chances this time. Parrying them is very difficult, but as long as you can dodge that grab, you're golden to keep wailing on them. And this connects back to the well at the start of the village, where we found the Rockio. That's why we could hear these ladies singing from in there, which I think is really good design too. Vati Vidya pointed this out in his video on the fishing village level, that going down the ladder and hearing the singing of the winter lanterns, you know, like, that gives you a panic response. You know, it activates your fight or flight. He started looking around the room while he was still on the ladder instead of just sliding right down, and saw the shark hanging from the ceiling. So it's like he like that clued him in his wariness about the Winter Lanterns clued him into the fact that it was going to be a tough fight down there with 2 sharks at once. So this is what makes this place hard. You got the 2 Winter Lanterns guarding it, you got a lot of these slug ladies, and you've got fish wizards casting lightning spells at you. So this can get very chaotic, especially with these ladies jumping from the ceiling and you know, the fish wizards spawning lightning at your feet. And I'm out of stamina because I'm trying to kill these things, and a large blancmange appeared to have spontaneously come into reality for some reason right there in that other shot. Oh my god, and I'm almost dead, I'm almost dead, I'm almost dead. And there's still another wizard, and there's still another wizard, and here we go, I'm gonna get him. Oh my god. Why can't you be, like, there's one cool fish wizard, and he's the first guy we met. He couldn't have warned us that the rest of you guys would be assholes. Maybe that guy was on the welcoming committee. Yeah, he has to be nice to visitors. These other guys are like, fuck you. Get out of here. But, made it through. Got the blood rock. Great job, Kate. Now you can +10 Lady Maria's sword and carry on her legacy. Yeah. The Rakuya, you can't really do any of the blood attacks that Lady Maria did with it. But I find that to be, I don't really think that's much of a loss, given that, you know, the Chikage is a similar, you know, katana that uses the user's own blood for blood magics, and the idea of a sword that drains your health as you use its special property, it's like, you know, it's a neat trade-off, and it might be a tactic I would use in an easier game, but in this game, no, please. I need my health. Thank you. Anyway, so that was all down there in the caves. There's a whole section of the level I just skipped over, so I'm just gonna show it on film here, as I make my way through it and loot it for various upgrade materials and items and blood echoes and shit. And then we will end this hellish nightmare once and for all. Next video. Yeah, it's honestly, if you just skip over this area and go straight into that cave where I went earlier in the video, it's very easy to just completely skip over all of this. In fact, there's 2 blocked gates in the checkpoint room. Also, check out this trap. Miraculously, I was, you know, just a pixel away from that explosion, didn't get hit by it. Yeah, so there's actually 2 shortcut gates, one-way doors, in the room with the checkpoint. And one of them goes down to the elevator that takes you right down to where the boss is. So that's the main one you want to get. There's another one that I just straight up didn't unlock because I didn't need to on this run. Maybe if you're having a harder time with this level, it's worth unlocking, but I found it was not, you know, it didn't even cross my mind. And it just leads back into the cave. That, of course, leads down toward the bottom, toward the bottom of the hill on the beach where we need to go. And, man, that was a lot of guys and dogs. Oh, hey, more guys! Excellent! Naked guys. Okay, you do you. Whether they got, like, barnacles on them and shit. Barnacles that look like eyes. Blech. Blagen, blargen, blugen. Ah! There we go. Jesus. Alright, is that all? Yeah, I think we're golden. Time to upgrade this sword. And just do some last-minute admin before we end the game. I picked up some more cursed gems from those two winter lanterns. And some of these are actually pretty good. Attack versus beast down is actually, for our purposes, for the final boss of this DLC, will not be a very severe handicap. So I'm going to put that one on. Weapon durability down, I don't quite like that the durability is down that much as a trade-off for the, you know, the largely increased attack power. So, I think I'm good with what I have here. Choices, choices. Decisions, decisions. Whatever shall I do?